What is up, gents? 40k Dirtbags here. We're going to do a quick guide for you for the Arks of Omen Grey Knight Secondaries. So we've been playing Grey Knights for a while now. We actually just got ranked #1 in the world for 2022, so that's pretty fucking awesome. But today we're going to go over the new 6-month game plan for Arks of Omen. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been testing it out, practicing your lists. The lists that you have been running prior are going to be doing even better in Arks of Omen, with everybody losing Armor of Contempt. So a lot of our strategies and powers and stuff are actually going to be a lot better going into this new edition. There's going to be so many different list change-ups. It's easier to make lists now and crazier lists, especially with the Armigers, if you guys ever want to run the Armigers. But today is going to be a whole breakdown on what secondaries we have in our codex for Arks of Omen, as well as some suggestions on what we can be running for the Arks of Omen detachment. So first off, thanks for clicking on the video. If you guys are, not subscribers, definitely hit the subscribe button. There's a Discord that we are super growing very, very fast. If you guys want to join that, everybody helps each other out. We are selling Dirtbag Dice. That's actually coming up. We are starting sale on Monday. Patreons are going to be getting a 10% discount on all the dice if you guys want to join the Patreons and support the channel. All right, there's all the shout outs. So let's get into the secondaries. I made this as simple as possible. We pulled it up on Wahapedia. Very simple. Let me just minimize myself. So if you guys are new to Wahapedia, Wahapedia is a very, very good website, and it kind of breaks everything down for you. This is the Arks of Omen Wahapedia. All you have to do is Google it. So shout out to them. But we got the first one, which in our codex, we have a secondary that is mainly specifically for demons. If you guys are facing demons, you're almost always going to be taking this one to try and kill them. It's basically you kill demon, you get points. So destroy the demon. Last edition, if you left demons alive, which most of the time it's either you table them or they table you, you lose points. This one, they kind of completely get rid of it and you just get points. So if you kill demons, you get points. If you have a Primarch on the other side of the table, I know Angron might be ran a lot, so you get 5 points for killing Angron. I'm not sure if it'll be worth it. It might just be better just to take Assassinate, but if they have more than one demon on the table, Primarchs, you get 5 points, demon monsters, you get 3 points, and vehicles, you get 3 points. So if you are counting on the other side of the table, example, Iron Warriors used to run a lot of demon engines. So demon engines would be demon vehicles, so they count as 3 points each. Usually you'll see like a Helldrake, probably not anymore, but you see the Decimators, I don't know if they're vehicles, but you see the Venocrawler, you see the demon engines, the Talon dudes, and then you see the demon princes. So if you're killing those, you're getting 3 points per. Any demon unit, you get 1 point. So demon kin, I found out, are not demons. It has to have the demon keyword. So if it doesn't have the demon keyword, it doesn't count as a demon. But again, you're adding up the points, and you can get between, I would say, 12 reliably, you should do it. If you can get 10 reliably, it's up in the air, maybe. But if you can get 12 reliably by killing units that you're going to kill anyway, you should be taking it. Again, anything on the demon codex, it's going to be points. You have the demon engines, the demon units, the demon primer, like all that stuff is going to be the demon. So that's a simple one. Don't really have to expend too much in it. Again, I'm only taking it if I'm facing a demon or if I'm facing Iron Wars and they have a ton of demon engines. Next one, if you guys haven't seen it already, I'm sure you already have, the Teleport Assault is almost a guarantee that we're going to be taking in Arks of Omen. So Teleport Assault used to be, I believe, 3 a couple of months ago, and then it was 4, and now they boosted it up to 5. At the end of each battle round, score 5 victory points if one or more enemy units were destroyed by a Grey Knight's model in your army during a teleport ability, a teleport shunt, or a gate of affinity. So you want to kind of plan this out. You want to make your list based around this Teleport Assault. You need at least 2 characters, hopefully, to have Teleport Assault on them, meaning Gate of Affinity. So if one of your characters dies, you have somebody else that can still cast the power. That's happened to me before. It might happen to you, but it is brutal when they kill your Grandmaster and you don't have another one that has Gate of Affinity, or even a Tech Priest that is Gate of Affinity. So if you're running Prescient Brotherhood and one brings the Prescient Warlord trait and it's all he's casting every single time, his second power is fucking Gate of Affinity, because it's always going to come up. So make sure you have Gate of Affinity. You want to get this off as soon as possible. if you can get an early alpha strike or an early easy teleport assault, let's say you're facing Quins and they have a vehicle that's just kind of poking out a little bit, you would literally gate up a Dread Knight up and down exactly where he is, 30 inches away, and just shoot that vehicle dead to try and get it. You might want to tinker it down a little bit, like take some wounds off it with either bolters or another Dread Knight shooting at it with just the silencers, but you don't want to kill it with the other Dread, because obviously you lose out on 5 points, but you want to make sure that you kill it with the thing that you gated up and down. That's one of the strategies, is if you're later in the game and you don't really have to go close to the enemy and you kind of want to stay farther away, just gate your Dread Knight literally up and down, right exactly where he was, because you probably moved to get line of sight in case you didn't get the gate off. And then when you do get the gate off, you literally just boom, boom, up and down, and then that counts as a gate. So shunt, I try, if you guys have been using the shunt, I try not to use shunt. It's a last ditch effort to spend fucking 2 CP to shunt your Dread Knight. Now, if you don't have any line of sight whatsoever, and you know it's an easy target to kill, then it might be worth it to do a shunt. Shunting your Grandmaster across the table because he has the sigil of teleporting. So if he gets shot later on, you can then gate him back to safety. Shunting your Dread Knight specifically just to get a hair, like a point on your model, to see a point on or a unit on their model to try and kill it reliably is definitely going to be worth 5 points on turn 1. If I can get a turn 1, then I only have to do it 2 more times throughout the game to get Teleport Assault. Another tip on this is it works in the opponent's thing. So it's per battle round. So let's say you gate or shunt or do whatever you got to do, and then let's say you don't kill something. If they charge you, right, and you kill something or finish off a unit, that still counts as 5 points. You can't double it up, so you can't go 5 and 5. But if you shunt, you fail it somehow, and then they charge you and then you kill them, it still counts as 5 points, which is awesome, right? That's kind of like the same as the Death Guard, Fleeing Vectors. So it's very, very good to play it like that. Also, another thing is the Mortal Wound Librarian. One of the easiest ways to get Teleport Assault is literally just gating him around and just picking off units with Mortal Wounds. That's one of the easiest ways to get Teleport Assault, is if you bring a Mortal Wound Librarian and just save all your CP for the Librarian. Another thing is it happens in essentially the Psychic phase. So if, let's say you got it last turn, this is your new turn. You gated a Dread Knight over... No, sorry, you don't gate. So the Librarian finishes off the unit that he's in combat with powers. Let's say there's only 2 Marines left. He does a Purify Flame, and then he does a Smite to finish off that unit. If you then gate that Librarian away, counts for 5 points. Somebody told me this at LVO, and I was like, holy fucking shit, that is amazing. I'm definitely trying that. So save, if you don't need the Librarian to kill something else and he's already tied up in combat, or he's close to a unit and he could just walk up and do something, that's actually a really cool strategy. So he literally just walks up, does something, and then you gate him the hell away to safety, and it counts as a teleport strike, because if one or more enemy units were destroyed by a Grey Knight's model from your army that was set up on the battlefield using Teleporter Strike, Teleporter Shunt, or Gate of Affinity this battle round. Doesn't say in which order, it just says it was killed by that unit and was set up on whatever in this battle round, counts as 5 points, which is, again, crazy. So this is definitely going to be one of our best secondaries that we should be able to get 10 easily, 15 also pretty easily. Units now a Purgation Squad. Purgation Squad having 4 Flamers is deadly. Coming down, flamering a unit, and then again, you can spend 1 CP for Overwatch, and then just maybe killing a unit, maybe 1 or 2 survive, and then you just kill them with your hammers in the face. That is one thing. Saving a Dread Knight for a Deep Strike, like putting him into Deep Strikes for reserves, and then him coming down turn 2 and hopefully getting a potential easy Teleport Assault off. Starting a Mortal Wound Librarian on the table turn 1 if you have 2 of them, and then gating them to be 15 inches away because you can extend the range, and then getting an early Mortal Wound kill off. Again, there's so many ways to get this off now, but 5 points is freaking huge. So yeah, it's amazing. So Teleport Assault, very, very good. Lastly, guys, Purify Flame or Purify Ritual, which was our main go-to every single time. This one now is kind of like, I would say 50-50. I tested this out in LVO when it was on 5 to cast, and it still failed. It still fails, what, 20% of the time. So having multiple units on objectives is the only way that's going to make this beneficial. So it is in Warcraft. There's not a ton of Warcraft that a lot of people can take or want to take. Arbor the Witch is always taken against us if they don't have a Psyker. But Purify Ritual, you still have to own it. I think Rick said in one of his videos that you don't have to own it, but you do have to own it right here. It says a range of objective marker you control that has not been purified. So you can't purify the same one, but you can purify different objectives. You get 1 for 1, purify. You get 2 points for 2 of them, and then you get 4 points for 3 of them, which was my goal. If I had a mission that had easy 3 to get to, or there was 2 on my zone that I can set up, and then 1 in the center that I could literally just hop a interceptor unit out, cast, and then gate them away. That was the only time I really took Purify Ritual that I knew I can get it pretty easily. So 4, if you do it on 4 different objectives, you get 5, which some of them you can do that pretty easily. So this isn't a throwaway secondary now. You can still use it pretty reliably as long as you make the list for it. I made a list with 4 Dread Knights and 3 Armigers, which if you saw that video, go check it out. But it didn't work out because I didn't have the units for it. The Dread Knights can cast it, but they're usually too far back, or they're trying to not be, killed with the opponent shooting them. So they're not really going to be close or on the objectives every single time. That center objective is almost impossible to get unless you're literally moving your entire army towards the center, which you don't really want to do unless you're throwing units out of rhinos. So if you don't have a list geared towards a secondary, you most likely are not going to be taking the secondary. Rolling a 6 is even harder now than rolling a 5, obviously. And anybody that can deny this secondary with a lot of psychers on the enemy team, I most likely will not be taking the secondary. I'm only going to be taking if there's literally no psychers on the enemy team, or if it's a very easy mission where I can get 3 reliably with 2 different units on each objective. You can have 2 Dread Knights in the back on the back objectives, casting and shooting 30 inches away. And then you can have 1 to 2 on the third objective to try and get that pretty easily. There's some tips on how to do this. I like to do an interceptor squad or even a Dread Knight. A Dread Knight can pre-start on the line, move up 9 inches to the center objective, cast on the center objective, and then you gate the Dread Knight back to safety, so that way he can potentially get Teleport Assault, as well as the Purify Ritual. So that's a little tactic I've been doing for the past couple months, is throwing an interceptor squad out to the center when you needed a 5. Now you need a 6. So it's still the same statistics. Needing a 5 was easier, but now needing a 6, it's still the same if you're going to have 1 unit of a interceptor squad go do it, or a Dread Knight unit to go out and do it. So you just need to roll 6. So if you walk out, cast on the center, and then you cast the back 2, that's 4 points on turn 1. You get Teleport Assault, that's 5 points. And then let's say you put up 2 banners, that's potentially 2 points the next turn. So you can have a really, really good turn 1 with Grey Knights if these 2 secondaries go off and you do banners or kill stuff, later on. So we still can score points pretty easily on these 2 secondaries. And obviously if you kill one of the demons, you get, pretty good secondaries on that too. So you can save this for later in the game. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to do smites or hammerhand or something else. But saving it for later in the game, you now needing a 6, it's going to be a lot more unreliable to get max points on this, needing a 6 and controlling the objective compared to just needing a 5. Or before you needed a 5, but you didn't need to control it. So I don't know why they're just throwing it under the bus for us. That kind of sucks. So yeah, so those are the Grey Knight secondaries that, we still can use. Teleport Assault, we're almost always going to be using. So let's go over some other options that we can build our lists around for Grey Knights. We'll start all the way at the top. So bring it down, obviously going to be taking this for Knights every single time. If they have a ton of vehicles that you could be killing, maybe Imperial Guard now. I know their vehicles are very hard to kill, but if they have a ton of vehicles that have over 10 wounds, they're 2 points each, or if they have over 15 wounds, they're three victory points each. That could still be a good one to take instead of Destroy the Demon. Assassinate, if you know their characters are coming at you, i.e. orcs, Dark Eldar, Sisters is a trap, don't do it for Sisters. Who else? Ynnari. Custodes don't really have a ton of characters that they're going to be bringing, but characters that are going to be in your face are the ones that you want to do Assassinate on. If they don't really need their characters and they're kind of just buffing characters, most of the time you're never even going to see them or interact with them. So you don't really want to be taking Assassinate for that. They changed the Arks of Omen rules now. So if you bring a ton of troops or war dogs, right, armigers, you get a command point now if you kill a character, which is pretty cool. So if you have big characters that they can't really hide, this could be a potential one that you want to take. If you run 2 armigers, which I think in the new list that I'm going to be running, this would be a good one to take, because then you could just shoot the armigers from far, killing like a demon unit or killing a orc big thing, kill rig. You get points for doing that, or you get a CP for doing that. So that's another one potential. No prisoners, always a good one, but now it's combating with our teleport assault. So most likely you're going to be probably, I'm going to say 90% of the time you're going to be taking teleport assault, unless there's like really hard units like that. Let's say they have custodes and there's 3 10-man blobs of terminators, and you're like, there's no way I'm going to teleport assault and get this. Then you might be wanting to take no prisoners instead of teleport assault. Grind them down, very hard for Grey Knights, especially if you're using interceptors kind of trade. Grind them down, it's cool now because you get a CP if one or more enemy units were destroyed by troops or a War Dog class Titan. So grind them down would be cool if you're bringing, let's say, 4 dreads, 2 or 3 armigers, and your armigers are just killing shit all over. You're getting CP at the same time, and you just can't have them shoot you back. That's one way that you can do grind down. But again, I'd rather probably just take teleport assault, get an easy 15 points, because this you can lose 3 points by not killing enough, or turn 1 you don't get any line of sight whatsoever. So it's a gamble. I usually don't really take grind them down. It's most of the time no prisoners, teleport assault. Warpcraft. So Purify Ritual, again, we already went over Purify Ritual, but Warp Ritual is good if you have a character. Our characters for Grey Knights usually want to do shit. They're casting defensive buffs, they're gating people, they're changing the tide, they're putting out different like sanctuary buffs on our units. So it's hard to have a specific character, maybe a tech marine, that wants to get into the center of the board and not die. The center of the board is so volatile now in Arks of Omen. There's so many badass units that just want to sit and camp the center zones that we don't have the defensive power to sit in the center and not be shot off the table. So Warp Ritual is kind of hard for our characters and our units to not die in the center. Now, the only way that you could probably do this is if you have a character move out to the center and then gate him away. But then that's taking away gate from teleport assault. Or if you do it with, let's say, a Grandmaster, right? If you put your Grandmaster in the center and he gets shot, he can then be automatically gated away. Or you can move your Grandmaster Dread Knight up. He does it, and then he either casts himself away, or another model casts Gate of Affinity to gate him away, and then he can still do teleport assault by killing something. So that's probably the only way you're going to want to be doing Warp Ritual for Grey Knights. Psychic Interrogation changed a lot now. You actually need to see, or they have to see you. So they have to see you to get the interrogation. It used to be a lot easier when you just cast it within 24 inches. So you're not going to be seeing this taken a lot by the enemy team, because if they peek their character out, usually you just go after them and try and kill them with a unit of interceptors, like charging 15 inches out of a rhino, which Keevil knows, but it's not great for us now. So I would probably skip out on the interrogation unless you run like a kamikaze Dread Knight Grandmaster that can just gate all over the board and get line of sight on the characters and do it. It could be good against knights if you don't plan on killing their big knight. So that could be used. Yeah, maybe testing that out on a knights matchup, because then you can do that. You can do teleport assault, and then you can do bring it down. That would actually be a good 3 for knights. Battlefield Supremacy. This got really good. I think Grey Knights are going to be using this a lot. Behind enemy lines, we have troops that can deep strike. So if they don't block out their backfield, you can literally just drop a troop unit in. They can get teleport assault for us. They can kill a unit with flamer and bolters, and then they can charge. If they want to charge, they can hopefully roll that 9 to get the charge. If you have the one tied where you get an extra, essentially it's 1 and 2s count as 3s. So minimum, you need to roll a 6 on the dice, on one of the 2 dice, to get the charge off. If you have first to the fray, which is +1 to charge on a character, they only need an 8. So you need to roll a 5 on one of the 2 dice, which the statistics are very high to do that. So behind enemy lines, I think is going to be great. It's 3 points now just for getting a unit behind enemy lines. If you're running Blades of Victory, which is a Brotherhood, for a pregame move, that's one of my favorite Brotherhoods. You can pregame move your Grandmaster. You can pregame move a unit of Interceptors. The Interceptors can then hop out 6 inches, move up 12, and then charge. That's 3 points on turn 1. And then if your Grandmaster happens to get in the zone and he doesn't die on the fight back, then that's 4 points on turn 1 from behind enemy lines. So I think that's going to be used a lot by Grey Knights. Test it out, see if it's good. Armigers, you're not really going to be wanting your Armigers in the opponent deployment zone. But if you're on like the Meltagon melee dude, you might want. Engaged all fronts. I actually ran this LVO for the first time in a very long time and actually managed to get 12 points. They changed it now where you only have to be 3 inches, right? 3 inches away within 4 quarters. So instead of being 6 in all 4 quarters, you only have to be 3 inches away from all 4 quarters to get 3 points. So it's a little bit easier to get that. And I think it's still the same. A qualifying unit has a starting strength of more. So even if there's only 1 guy left, his starting strength was over 3. So he still counts for being in engaged. And I did mess this up. You can't have characters in there, right? Excluding 1 or more vehicles or monsters, excluding aircrafts. So somebody at LVO said you can't have characters. Qualifying units, see below, wholly within. So it says, qualifying units, see below. So that might be qualifying unit is 1 starting. Okay, so 3 or more models. So characters that start with 1 don't count. That's why. So if you have a character unit of 3, they can do it, but less than 1 can't do it. So vehicles count though. So if you have a Rhino, that kind of gets right across the board at the 6-inch mark, or even 3 inches. If you're on 4, I would keep it at the 6-inch mark. He's going to count and get you engage a lot. So engage are great for the 1 deployment zones that go like slanted. So that way you're already starting in almost 3 table quarters. And the ones that have the 9-inch circle in the middle that you start in 1, but then you can easily spread out. Especially with our foretelling of the locus, you can redeploy units. So that way you can spread out to 3 table quarters automatically. And that'll get you 10 points easily, 12 if you want to get into the enemy deployment zone if you're running Blades of Victory. So Shadow Operations, I think you're going to be seeing more now with Grey Knights, just because retrieve battlefield data is going to be used, because if you run a lot of infantry and you don't really want to be taking the Purify Ritual, let's say there's not a lot of good objectives on the board, you could just do retrieve battlefield data. You kind of like deep strike your strikes. You can do this one with behind enemy lines. That's a good combo. This one with engage in all fronts. So like comboing these two are going to be great with Arks of Omen, because you can deep strike your troops in the backfield. You can get a CP. They can do the data because they're troops. So getting that kind of all over the board is definitely going to be helping out. It's almost an easy 8, I would say, for Grey Knights. And if you can get all 4 by turn 5, right, you just need to be in turn 5, you get 12 points. So it doesn't max it out. So that's kind of why I never used to take it. But if you have nothing else to take and you're like, hey, I got the troops for it, you get 12 points for doing all 4. Banners is probably going to be the more taken one. I've been taking banners for a couple of months now. Servitors do a great job at planning banners. They basically walk up on the home objective, plan a banner. The other strike unit that you have on the home objective does Purify Ritual. And the next turn, the servitors run the fuck away to block deep strikes. So they're going to block out your backfield by, you know, spreading out and doing whatever they got to do. So banners is definitely going to be key. I only take banners if I can reliably get 2 down turn 1. And hold those 2 for most of the game. If I can get 10 on banners, and then at the end of the game get like another 1 or 2, getting up to 12 to 13 points on banners, I'm most likely going to take banners every single time. There's 2 missions that I think on the top of my head where there's 6 objectives. One's down the middle, and then there's 2 and then 1 in the back for the 6 objectives. That one, most of the time, you're always going to be taking banners. There's also one that goes this way, horizontally. Wow, I can't speak. And then there's 2 banners, and then 1 in your home deployment zone, where all you have to do is just kind of walk up to units, plant a banner, and then plant a banner on the backfield. That's 3 banners. So you most likely are going to see banners, teleport assault, and either kill, assassinate behind enemy lines. Or if you have the objectives that I just mentioned, Purify Ritual if you have 2 on each objective. You don't want to fail one of the 3 Purify Rituals and only get 2 points that turn. So you want to make sure that you're getting at least 2 people on each objective to do that. So all in all, guys, every time I try and make my secondary choices, I ask the opponent, is there any good secondaries do you give up? How many points is bring it down? How many points is killing shit, which is, I always say kill shit, but it's no prisoners, which again, I got to get that out of my mind because we're almost always taking teleport assault. See, I always ask that, but now it's like, all right, teleport assault. And then how many denies do you have? How many characters do you have? And really, what is the mission primary? Because if the mission secondary or primary goes hand in hand with one of these, whether it be having to do an action like the bombs, strikes are great for bombs, but if you start on 3 table quarters and you can expand out pretty easily, it's going to be engage in all fronts or retrieve Nephilim data. So doing these 2, I'm pointing at my screen, you can't see, but doing these 2 combined with teleport assault is going to be a very good combo. So guys, I think Grey Knights are in a very good position coming into Arks of Omen. I think we don't have great secondaries, guys. We have a really good one, an okay one now, and then one that only works for 1 fucking army. So it's not the best, but our army is very good. And the person that plays the army that can focus on secondaries and pick really good secondaries is going to be winning the game. Last 6 months to a year, 9th edition in general, it's all about getting points on secondaries and denying the primary. If you can deny somebody's primary by even just 4 points, that is a huge swing, because then they could like lose 4 points, they can lose a banner, they can lose the mission secondary, the tertiary. There's a lot of points that if you can deny people while also focusing on your secondaries, you're going to win a lot more games. Now, there's going to be a lot of videos coming up, guys, on the channel. So if you guys, again, aren't subscribed, hit the bell notification so when I post these videos, they pop up on you. There's going to be a lot more how-to guides for the Dirtbag Nation. So if you guys want to join the Dirtbag Nation, definitely join the Discord. Support us on Patreon, and we're selling the Dirtbag dice on the Discord as well. They look fucking sick. So that's going to be coming out, but. Next couple of videos, again, are going to be tactical videos, more to the general 40k public, not specifically just Grey Knights, but we're going to be doing Death Guard secondaries, and we're going to be doing tips on both armies, and then how to win more 40k games. So if you guys want to see those videos, hit the subscribe notification, and then join the Discord. So appreciate it, guys. Thanks for clicking on the video, and we will see you in another video soon.